Have you ever felt like you knew someone completely, only for one moment to make you question everything? That's exactly what happened the night Kevin, my son, stayed behind after dinner. I never imagined that one conversation would turn everything upside down, opening a door to emotions I hadn't expected. Let me take you through that night, a night I'll never forget. By the way, drop a comment below and tell us from which city you're watching. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. I had always thought I knew my son, Kevin. He was 30 now, a man with a steady job and a life that seemed to be unfolding just as we planned. He came over every Sunday for dinner, like clockwork. It was a simple routine, one that made me feel grounded, like nothing could ever shake the stability we had. That evening, though, something felt different. It was subtle at first, like a ripple in water, something that caught my attention without me quite realizing why. I was in the kitchen, cleaning up after dinner, when I noticed Kevin hadn't moved to grab his coat like he usually did. He wasn't getting up to leave, not even to check his phone like he always did. "Are you staying a little longer tonight?" I asked, drying my hands on a dish towel, a slight smile playing on my lips. He looked at me, his eyes a little softer than usual. "Yeah, I was hoping we could talk for a bit." "Sure, Kevin, but what about your plans?" I raised an eyebrow. Normally he had a million things to do after dinner, always rushing off to meet friends or get back to his place. "I told them I'd be late," he replied, taking a seat at the kitchen table. I don't know. I wanted to talk to you." That's when I knew something was off. Kevin wasn't the kind of person to sit down for a heart-to-heart out of the blue. We'd had those talks before, but they were usually about surface-level things. Maybe his job, his friends, the usual. But this was different. My heart skipped a beat, and I wiped my hands nervously on the towel again, trying to act like I wasn't suddenly on edge. "Okay," I said softly, turning to face him. "What's on your mind?" He shifted in his seat, and I could tell he was trying to find the right words. It wasn't like him to be so quiet, so unsure. Kevin was always confident, the kind of person who knew what he wanted and where he was headed. Seeing him like this, struggling to start a conversation, felt like a jolt to my chest. I've been thinking a lot about us lately," Kevin started, his voice quieter now. "About how things have changed between us, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but I don't feel like we're as close as we used to be." I felt a pang of surprise. We'd always been close. Sure, he had his life, his work, his friends, but we still talked. We still shared things. He'd always been my little boy, even if he was a grown man now. I hadn't realized that he felt that way. I blinked, trying to process what he was saying. "Kevin, I didn't know you felt like that," I admitted. The words felt strange coming out of my mouth, like I was hearing myself say something I didn't fully understand. "I mean, we talk every week, don't we?" "Yeah, we do," he agreed, looking down at his hands. "But it's like there's a wall between us now. I don't know when it happened, but it's there. And I miss us, Mom. I miss the way we used to be." His words hit me like a punch in the gut. I wasn't prepared for this. Was I really losing touch with my own son? I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "Kevin, I don't want there to be a wall between us. You're my son, I love you, and I'm always here for you. I guess maybe I've been too caught up in everything else. Life, work, trying to make things work on my own. Didn't mean to make you feel distant." Kevin looked up at me, his gaze soft but intense. "I know you love me, Mom, but love is more than just saying it, right? It's about being there, really being there for each other. And I feel like I don't know, like I'm on my own sometimes. I swallowed hard. His words stung, but they also made me realize something important. I had been so focused on keeping everything together, on maintaining a life that looked perfect on the outside, that I hadn't stopped to see what was happening beneath the surface. What had I missed? What had I been blind to? I pulled out a chair and sat down across from him, my hands clasped together tightly. I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't know you felt that way. You're right. I've been so wrapped up in other things that I didn't see the distance growing between us. But I'm here now. Let's fix this, okay? Let's take it one step at a time. He smiled faintly, the tension in his face easing just a little. I'd really like that, Mom. We sat there in silence for a few moments, just looking at each other. It wasn't awkward, but it was heavy, like we were both trying to find our footing in a conversation that had already shifted the ground beneath us. I hadn't realized just how much I had been ignoring, how much I had been letting slip through my fingers. But in that moment, I made a promise to myself. I would do better. I would be more present for Kevin, more aware of what he needed from me, not just as a mother, but as a person who was still growing and changing. Maybe this was the beginning of something new for us, something I didn't expect but was ready to embrace. It was the following Sunday when things really started to shift. Kevin arrived at my house just like he always did, though this time it felt different. I had a weight in my chest, a quiet urgency, and I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation from the previous week. We hadn't talked much since then, but the distance had started to feel like it was closing, and I knew that things between us were changing. I was trying, in my own way, to rebuild what had been lost. "Hey, Mom," Kevin greeted me, his usual smile on his face, but there was something else behind his eyes. It was that same softness from last week, like he was unsure if he could be open with me again. The kind of hesitation that you don't expect from your son, especially after all these years of him being the strong, confident one. "Hey, Kevin," I replied, trying to act casual. "How was your week? Anything new?" He dropped his bag by the door and shook his head. "Not much, just the usual. Work's been crazy, you know. But I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about last week." I nodded, my heart rate picking up. I wasn't sure where this was going, but I knew it was important. "Me too," I admitted. "I've been thinking a lot about it, Kevin. And I don't want you to feel like I've been distant. I want to be there for you. I want to really be there." He paused, his eyes meeting mine. The silence stretched between us for a few seconds, and I could feel the vulnerability in his gaze, a reflection of everything he'd been carrying. Then he sighed, sitting down at the kitchen table. "I know you're trying, Mom, but it's like I don't know how to talk to you about some things anymore. You were always there for me when I was growing up, but now I don't feel like you really see me, you know. Like you don't understand what I'm going through." I could feel the sting of his words, but instead of getting defensive, I let them sit with me. He was right. I had always prided myself on being a good mother, someone who could sense what Kevin needed even without him saying it. But somewhere along the way, I'd stopped truly listening to him. I had stopped seeing him as a person, not just my son. "I'm sorry, Kevin," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "I didn't realize I was making you feel that way. I've been so focused on trying to fix everything, to make sure we're okay, that I forgot to really ask you what you need. I'm sorry for not being the mom you need right now." Kevin looked at me, his expression softening. "It's not just about being a mom. It's about being someone I can talk to. Someone who gets me, even when I don't know how to explain it myself." I felt a lump form in my throat, and it wasn't easy to swallow. I could tell this conversation was opening up something in Kevin that he hadn't shared before, and I wasn't sure how to handle it. but I knew I had to try. "I hear you, Kevin," I said, my voice steadying as I sat down across from him. "I want to be that person for you. I want to be the one who gets you. But you have to help me understand. I don't know what's going on in your world unless you tell me. I can't read your mind, and I can't keep pretending I know what you're going through." He looked down, his fingers fidgeting with the edge of the table. I know. It's just hard, Mom. There's stuff I'm dealing with. Things I can't talk about with just anyone. But you're my mom. You're the one person who's always been there, and I want to tell you, but I don't know how." His words were raw, laced with so much emotion, and it hit me harder than I expected. Kevin was struggling with something deeper than just a casual conversation, and I was just beginning to realize the weight of what he'd been carrying. He was still my son, but he was also his own person, an adult with his own life, his own challenges, and I had to remember that. "You don't have to explain everything all at once," I said softly. "But whenever you're ready, I'm here. No judgment, no rush. Just tell me what's in your heart, Kevin. I want to be the person you can come to, no matter what." He smiled, though it was faint, almost like he didn't fully believe my words. "Thanks, Mom. That means a lot to me. I guess I'm scared that you'll look at me differently, or that you'll be disappointed in me. I don't want to lose you." His confession shook me. "Kevin, I'll never look at you differently. You're my son, and no matter what, I'll always love you. You haven't lost me. I'm here always. You don't ever have to feel like you're alone in this." He nodded slowly, taking a deep breath, and for the first time in weeks, I saw a flicker of relief in his eyes. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make me feel like I was doing something right. It felt like a small step forward, but in this moment, that was all we needed. The weeks that followed felt like a quiet storm passing through us. There was a shift in the air every time Kevin came over, and even though we didn't talk much about that night, the one that had opened up so much, it lingered between us, silently pressing us to make things right. The tension was still there, but it was no longer that thick, uncomfortable wall. It was more like an open door, waiting for us to walk through it. Kevin and I found ourselves having more honest conversations, even if they were brief or awkward at times. The connection was growing again, but it was slow, like two people trying to find their rhythm after years of dancing around each other. It was another Sunday when the breakthrough came. Kevin showed up as usual, but this time, something was different. His eyes had a certain determination in them, a spark that hadn't been there before. I could feel it as soon as he walked in the door. "Hey, Mom," he greeted, his voice light, almost too light, like he was carrying something beneath the surface that he wasn't ready to share. "Hey, Kevin," I replied, smiling at him. "How's your week been?" "Same old, really," he said, shrugging as he dropped his bag by the door. "But, I've been thinking a lot about something I want to talk to you about." I paused, my heart rate picking up. It wasn't unusual for Kevin to have something on his mind, but there was something about his tone, something a little too calm, that made me realize this wasn't just a casual conversation. "Okay, I'm listening," I said softly, turning towards him. He walked over to the couch and sat down, his legs crossed at the knee. "It's about what we talked about last time, about how I've been feeling distant, and how I don't know how to talk to you about certain things. Well, I think I've figured out why." I could feel my pulse quicken. Was this the moment where everything finally came to light? Was Kevin about to share what had been weighing on him? "I'm ready to hear it," I said, sitting down across from him, watching him closely. Kevin took a deep breath, his fingers tapping nervously on the arm of the couch. He wasn't looking at me now. His eyes were fixed on the floor, like he was afraid to meet my gaze. "It's not easy to say, Mom," he began slowly, his voice steady but filled with uncertainty. "I've been thinking about how we've always been close, how you've always been there for me, and how I've always been able to count on you. But I think there's something I've been holding back, something I've never told you because I didn't want to hurt you. But I can't keep it in anymore." I sat there in silence, my breath caught in my throat. What was he about to say? My mind raced, my heart pounding in my chest. Could it be something I wasn't prepared for? What if it was something I couldn't handle? I think I've been keeping a part of my life from you, Mom. Something important. Something that's made me feel like I couldn't really share everything with you. And it's not that I didn't want to. It's just that I didn't think you'd understand. Or maybe I was afraid of how you'd react. The words hit me like a wave crashing against the shore. Kevin had been keeping something from me. But what? My mind flashed to every moment I could remember from our past conversations. What had I missed? "Kevin," I said softly, my voice shaky. "You know you can tell me anything, right? I've always been here for you, no matter what. But you're right, we've got to be honest with each other if we're going to fix things. What are you holding back from me?" Kevin looked up at me then, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and relief. "I've been struggling with something for a while now, Mom. Something I didn't want to admit to myself, let alone you. I've been feeling lost, like I don't know who I am anymore. And it's not just about work or relationships. It's about who I am at my core. I've been questioning a lot of things. Who I'm supposed to be, where I'm supposed to go." The weight of his words hit me harder than I expected. Kevin had always been the one with the answers, the one who knew exactly what he wanted. But now he was telling me he didn't know who he was. My heart ached for him. "Kevin," I said, my voice trembling, "you don't have to have all the answers right now. Life doesn't work that way. And you don't have to figure it all out alone. I'm here, no matter what. You're not lost to me. You're my son. And you're going through something tough, but we'll get through it together." Kevin nodded, his eyes brimming with emotion. "I've been scared, Mom. Scared of disappointing you. I don't want you to think less of me. I don't want to fail you." I shook my head, my heart aching for him. "Kevin, you haven't failed me. You never will. You're going through something right now, and it's okay to not have it all figured out. I'll never think less of you for that. You're my son, and I love you no matter where you are on this journey." Tears welled in his eyes, but he quickly wiped them away, not wanting me to see his vulnerability. But I saw it, saw the weight he'd been carrying, saw the fear and the uncertainty that had held him back for so long. In that moment, I understood him more deeply than I ever had before. Kevin wasn't just my son. He was a person, someone struggling, someone who needed space to find himself. And I was going to give him that space. "Thanks, Mom," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "It feels good to say that, to let it out." "You don't have to keep it in anymore, Kevin," I said softly, reaching across the couch to squeeze his hand. "You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you." He smiled faintly, the tension slowly leaving his shoulders. I think I can work with that." We sat there for a while, not saying much, just being there for each other. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't all resolved. But for the first time in a long time, it felt like we were finally starting to understand each other again. And for me, that was enough. For now.